Welcome back, folks. The question that we're looking at today is death over life. Why do Jehovah's Witnesses choose death over life when it comes to blood transfusions? Now, we did a live just the other night, and I'm looking at it here. We start all of our lives out with a little bit of a musical interlude. But on that live, you can go to the source information, Watchtower Help Club. It's a blog, and we went through that blog. And this is a big one. It says the gloves are coming off. We're going to dismantle the Jehovah's Witness blood doctrine and hold it up to the light once and for all and bury it. And that's what we did. We took an hour and a half and we covered all the information. We looked at all of the scriptures relating to the Jehovah's Witness blood doctrine, and we dismantled it. Now, the work done here was done by an ex-Jehovah's Witness. The site's called Watchtower HelpAdmin. We recommend you to go and look at it on blood. This individual served in the New York Bethel, served writing things about the blood, perhaps. We don't know. The writer's anonymous, but we have that information and we're advertising it because it's very, very well done. It completely diffuses the blood doctrine. So, folks, take a look at that, and you can go to my channel at Fixing My Faith, and you'll notice we cover news all over the world. And this particular news article that we picked up here is out of Australia. Okay, so we're going to take a look at three articles that are broken apart in Australia. And it seems like Australia is doing a lot of work for the ex-Jehovah or for the world by taking a look at the Jehovah's Witness cult. And they went head to head. They were with the Australian Commission regarding the CSA cases. And that kind of led the whole world to really take a close look at this organization that they call a religion. Now, in case you're wondering and you're new to the channel, I was in it for 30 years. I talk about it. I talk about my experience. Please subscribe if you haven't already subscribed, and you can keep up on the news. And we try to keep abreast to Jehovah's Witness news all over the world. Now, when we're looking at this particular story, we covered this back in 2 days ago, and it was a JW woman may have survived the inquest hears. So we covered the whole article, and that's this one here, where the Jehovah's Witness said she would prefer to die rather than have a blood transfusion, and so she went to the hospital. She needed a hysterectomy, and they weren't prepared for it, and she died non-necessarily. Now, what's interesting, the Australian did an inquest and looked into the results. What are the results of a Jehovah's Witness refusing blood and dying? You see, when the Jehovah's Witness, if you're a Jehovah's Witness and you do that, this is good to watch because it shows all of the trauma that it puts the rest of the world in and what can happen for people choosing to die unnecessarily, because it seems odd to die unnecessarily when the scriptures do not support it. And again, I recommend, and I'll have it linked in the description of this video, our live we did last Tuesday. We covered a whole hour and a half on the blood issue. We diffused every single argument in scripture. It's crystal clear that this doctrine is misapplied. So please see that. Now we're going to carry on. This woman died. She had no family. She came into the organization like a lot of us, and she was in the organization until she had this operation and died. Now her family, now we're looking into what does her family think and what does the doctor think, and this is what we're going to read today. So here we go. The distressed doctor tells Inquest that Jehovah's Witness woman preferred to die than accept a blood transfusion. So we're going to look at this. This is the lady that died, and she's holding her grandson there. That's just the picture they have. So this lady became a Jehovah's Witness. None of her family members were Jehovah's Witnesses, but she chose to die. She needed a blood would have saved her. So we're going to read the article. Heather Winchester died in September of 2019 after complications with a hysterectomy operation at the Maitland Hospital. She was transferred to the Newcastle John Hunter Hospital, where she bled to death. Gynecologist Adrian Searle told the court on Thursday that Miss Winchester was very well aware of the gravity of the situation as she was losing blood, and she did not want packed red blood cells. Dr. Searle says Miss Winchester, 75, was lucid and clear. Heather Winchester did not want packed red blood cells. She would prefer to die rather than to have them, the doctor said. And this is Heather and John Winchester, a picture of her and her husband, I guess. You know, it's amazing, sometimes if you're looking at this from the outside, now I was a Jehovah's Witness and we all look normal. We look like just normal people. You couldn't pick us out of a crowd, but yet our minds are under the indoctrination. And when I was in it, I believed in it, and I would have probably gave up my life for it. And I'm so happy now that I'm outside of it. And now I can be on this side and I can be helping thousands of people make a better decision. So again, go to our blood video. We did an hour and a half live on this. It's been diffused by people within the Watchtower that came out. And you'll see that on our video. Now, I'm going to carry on in this news. It was a very high risk situation. And she said, the doctor said, I wanted to be very clear with her about what she was actually wanted. And he says, I never have in my career counseled anyone so strongly about their risk of death. This is what this doctor is saying. He says it was a very real possibility that she would die if she did not accept those blood products. And Ms. Winchester refused the blood transfusion on religious grounds. We talk about the grounds in that video that the Jehovah's Witnesses use. Calls to family. The doctor said as the situation deteriorated, she called family members to discuss Ms. Winchester's condition. The family's barrister, Belinda Epstein, asked for details about the phone calls. Do you remember speaking with Miss McIntyre, the daughter, and her saying to you she was sure if she was there, she would have changed her mind, the barrister said. I don't remember her saying, I am sure she could change her mother's mind, Dr. Searle replied. I'm sure I would have said, we have got to get you here now if I heard that. So yeah, it doesn't even sound like they got the daughter involved. And after the phone calls, Miss Winchester's condition worsened and she died, and Dr. Searle fought back tears when she said the case haunted her. This has been a very distressing, I have had sleepless nights, she said, this doctor. Deputy State Coroner David O'Neill sought to clarify what the doctor did and said, so you told her if she did not have the transfusion, she'd die? And Miss O'Neill asked, and the doctor said yes. And the inquest before the Deputy State Coroner David O'Neill continues. So this is the kind of the doctor's look at it. Wow. Just so sad. And to think that doctor had sleepless nights. Like, this affects people. Jehovah's Witnesses out there. There's no scriptural grounds for the blood, for this whole blood thing. It's a facade. And they've changed it. We've covered that on our video. Please take a look at this stuff. This is affecting millions of people. It's costing millions of dollars into inquests, into research upon the Jehovah's Witness cult as to why they choose death over life. All other Christian religions choose life over death. But this religion chooses death over life. So something's wrong. So we're going to take a look at what the woman tells her inquest, her Jehovah's Witness mother. So this is the daughter of the lady that died. We're going to the third article, and this is part of this inquest. And they're looking into it to find out how this is affecting family members, doctors, people all around the Jehovah's Witnesses. Like, people think that I can just take my life and follow the doctrine of these 9 men in New York, which changes, and their doctrine changes on blood, and it has, and we show that on our video. But the woman tells Inquest her Jehovah's Witness mother refused potentially life-saving blood transfusion. It's the daughter talking. Heather and John Winchester. A Hunter Valley woman has told an inquest her Jehovah's Witness mother was acting on what the church wanted her to do by refusing a blood transfusion that could have saved her life. Heather Winchester, 75, died after complications during a hysterectomy surgery in September 2019. So she lost more than a liter of blood, and goes on to talk about her daughter, Elizabeth McIntyre, gave evidence at the coroner's court today. So Miss McIntyre told the inquest she helped her mother fill out her Maitland Hospital admission forms. Counsel assisting Eve Elborn then asked if she recalled her mother's gynecologist discussing the risks of not having a blood transfusion if there were complications. Miss McIntyre replied, no, not specifically, no. There was general discussion. I ticked the box to say she refused blood products. She said she only briefly discussed the risks with her mother outside her medical appointments. So the daughter really didn't talk about this with her mother. So it goes on to say, the daughter's talking here. So she says she was quite stubborn, but she felt this refusing blood was what the church was telling her to do. And she wanted to do what the church wanted her to do. So nothing about God, nothing about Jehovah God wanting her to do this, nothing about Jesus wanting her to do this, but this is all about what the church, the cult, wanted her to do. Let's be clear here. Let's go on here. She felt if she did the right thing, she would get to see her son, my younger brother, who was 10 when he died of leukemia. So this is the facade that Jehovah's Witnesses put into people's minds. This is a fictional story. It's not real. This is made up. And they make this stuff up. When you die, you're going to see these loved ones during the resurrection. This is made up. No one can say that, but they say it like a matter of fact. And it's all suppositions. It's a fictional story. But they pump it out as fact, and people give up their lives because they want to go and see they're going to have the resurrection. It's an easy way out. And I think this is a very subtle cult that's really subtly putting this false information into people's minds, and these inquests have to come out, and we have to speak out as ex-Jehovah's Witnesses, because we understand the indoctrination, the level of it, and we have to help others to get out and understand that it's not Bible-based. So again, if you're go to the video, the live we did, and we talk all about it. It's all very clear. Now, low risk. Miss McIntyre said she believed the hysterectomy was a low risk surgery. That's what the daughter thought. And here the gynecologist was telling the mother, this is really high risk. You could die, and going on and on and on. So it seems like there's a disconnect. These inquests are good because they help our medical system to get better and to get more family members involved, especially when it involves Jehovah's Witnesses and the blood. Now, she said hysterectomies happen every day. She didn't think it was a big risk. That's what the daughter's impression was, that it was a straightforward in surgery. So the inquest heard Miss Winchester's injury had been stitched up while she was in surgery, and there was a problem. The kidney specialists were saying urine was backing up and she'd lose her right kidney if she survived. And the deputy state coroner was told as the bleeding continued, Miss Winchester underwent a third operation. During the meeting with the staff and in discussions, they were constantly talking about my mother's decision not to accept blood, Miss McIntyre said. And probably the HLC was there just pumping this out steady. And that's what they have. And we talk about that on our video, how the HLC gets involved. Definitely with John Hunter Hospital doctors, they were obviously trying to save her life. Staff had gone to the health minister and were going to go to court, but I think it became too late. So they were even ready to go to court. And that's the determination of our healthcare systems trying to save people's lives. And this is costing huge amounts of money over something that is not Bible based. And these inquests are so important to hear all of these things out. Now, no autopsy. Deputy State Coroner David O'Neill was told there was no autopsy. So that wasn't done. Jehovah's Witnesses don't care. They just didn't. They feel I'm not going to take blood, so I'm a hero. Like they become martyrs. But this is based on false information from men that sit behind a desk. These are men, and this came midterm into the Jehovah's Witness cult term duration. So it's but regardless, none of it's Bible based. Miss McIntyre said she learned a challenge could happen a few weeks later when a police officer rang her. Then it was too late to have the autopsy, she said. So, when everyone dies, it's like it's too late. So we have to get involved. If you have Jehovah's Witness family members in the Jehovah's Witness, get involved if they're in the hospital. And your voice counts outside. If you're an ex-Jehovah's Witness, or if you're outside, you're a family member, get involved. If it's all Jehovah's Witness in the family, they become martyrs. They all support each other for the cause. And the cause is based on false information. So this is why we're on this side of the fence, trying to help people not to kill themselves, not to choose. Jesus never chose death. Jesus chose life over death, and he helped people to see that. So we cover that off on other videos. Other creators on this side of the fence cover this off many times over. So we ask you please to educate yourselves, debrief yourselves from the Jehovah's Witness indoctrination. And until next time, folks, keep living your life with love. Bye for now.